The Crusades were a period in European and Arabic history which spanned the main part from the 11th to the 13th century. My name is Valentin and welcome to our history. Today we will be exploring and discussing the four main crusades that occurred in Europe and where the soldiers from Europe were sent to the Holy Lands to recapture Jerusalem. Now, as I said before, there were four main crusades, with only the first one being actually successful. The first one was launched in 1095 and it lasted until 1099, when Jerusalem was captured and the establishment of four kingdoms in the Holy Lands were made. This were Kingdom of Antioch, Kingdom of Nicaea, Kingdom of Odessa, and Kingdom of Jerusalem. These kingdoms lasted for about 100 years, when in the 12th century Jerusalem fell to the Saracens, and later on in the coming years also the three remaining kingdoms also fell. Now the Second Crusade was launched by the Holy Roman Emperor Barbarossa, and the Second Crusade was actually the biggest one, with almost 100,000 men marching into the Holy Lands, but it ended in tragedy when King Barbarossa drowned when crossing a river, and because of his death, actually the whole army of 100,000 strong just returned home. The Third Crusade is probably the most famous one because of Richard the Lionheart of England, where he marched his army into the Holy Lands trying to recapture Jerusalem, but was unable to do that. And he later just captured Acre, from where he tried to attempt more skirmishes and taking Jerusalem, but he didn't manage to do that. And the Fourth Crusade was actually the most infamous one because of the Crusaders who wanted to travel east, were supposed to be ferried there by the Venetian navy, but the Venetians had other plans. Instead of ferrying them to Jerusalem and to the Holy Lands, they decided to pillage Constantinople, which was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, and for which the only reason for Crusades was basically to protect the Byzantine Empire from the coming Saracens. And the Fourth Crusade actually sacked and destroyed Constantinople, and from there on there was no help for the Byzantine Empire, which fell just a couple of decades later to the Ottomans. Now the main result of the Crusade was actually pretty good for Europe, because the Crusaders brought back many inventions and advanced technology from the Muslims, who were pretty more advanced than the Europeans, than the Western world at that time, although now it's hard to believe. But the main consequence can still be felt today because of the Middle Eastern crisis and whatnot. The split that came after the Crusades between the Christians and the Muslims there, and the rise of Islamic extremism, can also be traced all the way back to the Crusades. There were also many more other Crusades, in total 9 of them, but there were only 4 main ones that actually tried to do something and were meaningful to the Crusader cause. The Fifth Crusade didn't achieve anything. There were more Crusades between the First and the Second Crusades, and then between the Third and the Fourth. But as I said before, they didn't actually achieve any major goals or breakthroughs. There were just attempts to recapture Jerusalem, and of course they failed because the lack of manpower. As I said before, many historians argue that the interaction between the Western Christian and Islamic culture was a significant, ultimately positive factor in the development of European civilization and the Renaissance. The many interactions between Europeans and Islamic world across the entire length of the Mediterranean Sea led to improved perceptions of Islamic culture, but also make it difficult for historians to identify the specific source of various instances of cultural cross-fertilization. The art and architecture of the Altmariner show clear evidence of cultural fusion, but it is difficult to track illumination of manuscripts and castle design back to their source. Now, there were also many more Crusades later. The most famous was the Northern Crusades, with the Teutonic Order trying to convert the pagan Lithuanians. There was also the Bosnian Crusades, which was a campaign against the independent Bosnian Church, which was accused of Catholicism, or with other words, Bogomilism. However, it was also possibly motivated by Hungarian territorial ambition. And the last crusade which isn't actually called Crusade, but it's called Reconquista, was fought between the Spanish European Catholics and the Muslims, which invaded the Iberian Peninsula many centuries ago. It lasted from 1212 AD to 1265, when the Emirate of Granada, with the Emirate of Granada actually holding out until 1492, the same year when America was discovered, and at which point the Muslims and Jews were finally expelled from the peninsula. So to wrap it up, the Crusades were actually a positive effect for the Europeans, not so much for the Muslims. And the Crusades brought with it many advances in Western European culture and led to the Renaissance and the Europe that came after that, which was advanced, modern, civilized, and actually it began to form up into a Europe, the European continent as we know today. So yeah, that was just a quick recap of the Crusades. I hope you liked them. I hope you learned something new, of course. And I'm gonna repeat this at the end of every video. If you're a history nerd like me, and if you want to help me with my project, be sure to send me a message, send me an email, send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. You can contact me in any ways, because I would always appreciate your help. It would be awesome. And if there's more of us, it's actually a lot more fun to do things. And it's easier for everyone. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and you can also follow my pages on Facebook, Instagram, and also my website with all the links in the description. If you want, you can check out my Patreon page, whose link will also be in the description. So yeah, that's it about the Crusades. I hope you liked it, and I'm not yet sure what I'll do for my next video, but again, let it be a surprise. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Our History. Bye bye.